Some people say size matters, but what would you do with your next biggest tank ever? Stay tuned and find out what I plan on doing with my biggest tank I've ever had. Good afternoon. Welcome to All Things Fish. My name's Mike, and thanks for tuning in. We got some big things happening, both literally and metaphorically. Recently, we actually broke 200 subscribers, which is great. And like I told you guys before, every time we hit the next 100 subs, we're gonna step it up a notch and give away some freebies. And you'll find out how to get those freebies shortly here after we talk about today's subject. And I said that things are getting bigger. I recently acquired my biggest tank that I've ever owned. And some people have had some real big tanks, 400, 500, 600 gallons. Some people maybe 55 or 75 gallons is big for them. But myself currently, my biggest tank was a 125, and that is currently set up as a planted display tank that resides in my living room. I have CO2 on it. It's run by 2 canister filters and houses a bunch of Corydorus and some Chalathrina alani Wapoga collection rainbows, and it's beautiful. However, there was a little bit of an urge in me to find a bigger tank, and I happened to come across an opportunity for a 6x2x2 180 gallon acrylic tank for a steal. I stole it. I almost felt bad only giving them $100 for it, but it's in good shape. It's definitely gonna be usable, and it's going to be down in the new fish room, and it may turn out to be the main centerpiece of the fish room, other than I'll have all my working tanks with my breeding stuff, but this might be the thing to look at. So far, I know that I want to drill it and add an overflow, but I've been out of the overflow game for a little while. What would you guys set up on a 180 gallon tank for an overflow? Would you drill the bottom, or would you drill the back? Would you do like a coast to coast style overflow, or if you go through the bottom, would you do a standpipe? Let me know what you would suggest, what you have experience with, what works best for you, pros, cons of each one. I'm doing my own research on the side, and I will update you once we get to the point where we're ready to drill that tank, and I'll tell you the pros and cons that I found and why I decided to do what I did. So we're going to drill it for an overflow. That means we're putting a sump under it. Right now, there's no stand for it. There was a stand, but it was definitely super short and wasn't going to work for my application. So I scrapped the stand, and I'm going to build one out of, I'll just use 2x4s, and I'll give you guys a how-to. I'll make a whole video just on building the stand, from the structure to the skin to finishing it off, making it look pretty. But inside the sand, I think I'm going to go with a 40 gallon breeder for a sump, which should give me both sufficient space for equipment such as a protein skimmer if I decide to go salt, or just a heater, maybe a planted section if the main display maybe it houses some fish that you can't keep plants with, right? So maybe we'll plant just the sump itself for some nutrient export to suck up some nitrates, phosphates, etc. So I think I'm going to use a 40 breeder sump, and I'm going to need some help picking out a pump and what size plumbing size. So I don't need a ton of head height to get back up to the tank. The tank's going to be right above it. But obviously looking for good flow. I think DC is probably going to be the route to go, so it's a little more adjustable. So comment down below what kind of overflow setup would you use, and what size plumbing would you plumb your drain and your return lines, and recommend a pump. What pump do you use? What pumps do you prefer? Maybe you prefer something like a Pan World. I used to run a Pan World as my water pump, just to do water changes. But what size would you use? Would you go DC? Are there cons to going DC? Looking for some advice there as well. So we got the tank, got the overflow. I'm gonna drill it, plumb it down to a sump, send the water back up, into the main tank. But what's going to be in the main tank? So I've got some ideas, and I don't think I want to go full-blown reef with it. But if I went salty, I think it'd be cool to kind of do a predator tank. Maybe we put some sort of eels in there, like a snowflake eel, and we combine it. We kind of make it a predator tank with some big fish that have some, some big personality. Maybe a porcupine puffer. Maybe we throw a lionfish or something in there. So some of those non-reef safe fish that are a little more predatory, a little bit bigger. Maybe might entertain, do some feedings or something. That would be kind of cool. I think my kid would love it, so that's definitely an option. Another option is maybe we don't go salty with it all. Maybe we go fresh. And like I said, my biggest tank so far has been a 125, so I've been fairly limited on some of the species that I can keep based on size. Do we plant it? I've already got my 125 planted display upstairs, so I don't know if I want to go full-blown hardcore planted tank like that, because it can be a little bit of work sometimes. But maybe we plant it and we go with some angelfish or some discus. Now, I'm not usually a huge fan of discus. They're gorgeous fish, and there are some amazing discus fish out there, but they just don't really do it for me. I'm thinking maybe some Altum angelfish. I've got a friend that might be breeding some of those soon, so that would be kind of cool. Get some big Altums in there with maybe a few sword plants, maybe some Crypspiralis to fill out the background, and then do some nice driftwood, some Manzanita or something. That's an option. I actually prefer, I think I want to get Leopoldi angels over the Altums. So if we go angels, I think I'll go with Leopoldi angels over the Altums. But feel free, give me some input there. And I think if we went with angels, probably do maybe a sand substrate. So plant it, angelfish, sand substrate, and maybe some geos or some Guyanacara. Something a little bit less common, but some some bigger boys. And then I have this, and I've told you guys about this before. This Sensum that I want to go to Lake Tanganyika, and I'm not a big main lake African cichlid guy. But lately I've been eyeballing some feather fins, and I think a 180, you have that big 6x2 foot footprint, 2 feet high. I think that would give some good space to put some feather fins in the bottom. They're just I think they're beautiful fish. Love the body shape, beautiful fish. They do get a little bit larger, so it'd be some of the larger fish that I've kept personally myself. But I think it would be large enough to give them space to show them off. We'll still be able to spawn them and hopefully raise some fry from those to distribute throughout the hobby. And I think if I went with feather fins, I could do maybe some Cyprichromis. What's your favorite species of Cyprichromis? Just leave that in the comments below. I said, and I told you guys when I started this channel that I'm going to be asking for your feedback. I'm going to be asking for your input. So we're kind of, maybe convince me, convince me do one way or the other, or pick a fish. Maybe you breed a fish and you're willing to let go of some of those, and you can convince me that your fish is the fish that I should put in my 180. That would be, I like to source fish from other hobbyists as often as I can. I support shops as well, but if I can ever get tank raised stuff from a fellow hobbyist, that is my preferred way to go. So that's kind of how things are going to come together. Those are a few ideas that I've had. Again, like a predator type fish only saltwater tank with maybe some eels, porcupine puffer, or something like that. Lion, maybe do dog face instead. I've been diving right out there actually on the beach, and there's a bunch of dog face puffers, and that's kind of where I'm getting this itch to go salty. I think is just being around all the saltwater fish out here in the ocean on this work trip. But then again, I've always been a plant guy, and some South Americans really hold a little bit of a soft spot in my heart. So maybe we'll go there or try something new. I've only kept a few main lake African cichlids before, so definitely interested in going that route. So give me your 2 cents. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And while you're browsing around on the page here, listening to me. Hit the like, subscribe. If you enjoy, whether it's the entertainment value or the information value, please subscribe, like, pass this out to your friends, let them know, get their input. Maybe they've done something cool and unordinary that you don't see very often, and maybe I'll kind of tug on their coattails a little bit and maybe try to replicate something that they're working on. But that's it as far as the tank goes. Now back to maybe something that could be a little more exciting is the 200 subscribers. And we have hit 200 subscribers at the point in time this video is recorded. We hit 228, so we're getting there. We're getting there fast, and I'm trying to keep up making videos to keep you guys interested and to hold up my end of the deal, to help you guys out and hopefully provide some solid content that you guys enjoy, that you guys might be learning from, or maybe it just inspires you. Maybe I'm not actually teaching anything, but maybe something I've done or something I talk about inspires you to go out and learn more, or do some research, or set up something new, something different, like my paludarium build that I did in the last video. There were some good comments, and some people messaged me like, hey, that's pretty cool, can you tell me more? And I love sitting and talking about that. If you enjoy the videos, or if you just had some questions, or just want to talk about something, feel free to find me. You can find me on GetGills on Facebook, of course, or you can email me mike.allthingsfish@gmail.com, and I'd love to chat with you. I'd love to meet new faces. And it turns out, now that I'm jumping into the community, there's a lot more faces that are closer to me than I thought, and that's great. Those are people that I'll actually someday hopefully be able to meet up with in person, whether we have a drink, whether we visit each other's fish rooms, go out to dinner, go to some swaps together, and that'll be a lot of fun. And so far, I'm enjoying it. But on to the giveaway for 200 subs. On Tuesday night at 10 o'clock Eastern time, I am going to go live with Priscilla MK from Swiss Aquatics, and we are going to give away some of her artwork as a way to celebrate hitting a milestone, that 200 subscriber milestone, moving up in the world a little bit. I know there's a long way to go, and that's okay. That gives me something to shoot for. But we're going to give away some art from Priscilla. She's going to join me here on our stream, 10 o'clock Eastern time, right here on YouTube, live stream. We're going to give away some things. We're going to have a good time. We'll chat. We'll talk fish. If you don't want to talk fish, if you have other questions about, my job or whatever, if you want my opinion on something, feel free to ask. We may invite some other panel members up. We'll see. We'll just kind of see how it plays out. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to continuing on this journey with you. And thanks for all the help. Thanks for the opinions. Thanks for the comments. Let me know what you think. Giving me your input on what you would do with this tank. Your next biggest tank. What's your next biggest tank? What do you want it to be? Do you want to go beyond 180 gallons? I mean, 180 is pretty big. 300? 400? What do you consider big? Where do you draw the line? Thanks again, though. Thanks for everything. It's been a pleasure. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.